Hello there. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Restoration Today podcast. I am very excited to be joined by Jim Kowalski. He is a partner with Kowalski Construction, but he is also the president of Restoration Affiliates. And that's really more what we're here to talk about. Restoration Affiliates is an organization within the industry that has been bringing together a bunch of contractors over the years to partner together and help with losses across the country. It's an amazing partnership amongst, I don't even know how many companies at this point. So I'm going to toss it over to Jim. Jim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Restoration Affiliates in general?
Sure. So I am second generation restorer. And our company is 53 years old. I've been down there full time for 42 years, despite my youthful appearance, as I like to say. So I've been in the industry a long time and have seen a lot of changes over the years. And so I find it always helpful to give people a little history lesson as to where this idea of Restoration Affiliates has come from. So I like to start back in the days. We began working, like many of the partners in Restoration Affiliates, with peer network groups. And they're popular in many different industries. I've got three different buddies that own auto dealerships, and they're all involved in them. So there's a lot of different ones. So through the peer network organizations, we began to network with other restoration companies and non-competing markets. And that allowed us to share best practices and learn from each other. So during that process, I mean, this was an intense process. This wasn't a get together over a drink and cocktails and have a conversation. This was going to different facilities and interviewing their people, inspecting their facilities, reviewing their standard operating procedures, reviewing their financial systems, and as a group coming together and trying to present information for them and suggestions that would help them to become even a better organization than they already were. And so in that process, we got to know other restoration companies fairly intimately. And so what would happen is somebody would say, hey, do you guys do a job? Can you do a job for me in another state? Well, no, we can't. We just service Arizona, but I know a company over there and I know them pretty well. So I felt pretty comfortable referring work to them. So we would begin referring work back and forth, and it was very informal. And that probably still would be existing today if it hadn't been for the rise of these giant regional and national companies that are growing at an alarming pace across the country. And so with that in mind, if you don't have somebody to refer to in another market, then your client might likely end up going with another company just because they have a larger footprint. And I remember early years ago, we lost an account with one of the major insurance carriers in our market just because they went with a national franchise. And we said, what did we do wrong? How did we lose you guys? They said, we love you guys. We didn't do anything wrong. But corporate made the decision to go with a company that could service more locations. We didn't have that to offer. So the seed was sort of planted through the rise of all these changes in the industry. And then working as a group, we found that there were other benefits. We could co-op marketing events, right? So there's so many great industry or organizations and conferences and events out there, but I'm just one guy. And so I can only attend so many of those as much as I love them. But as an organization, we can have representation in multiple verticals in multiple states across the country at the same time, even. And so we got to extend our reach, which was something we aren't able to do as just a sole company. And then, of course, there's co-ops. We purchase in mass quantities and we put programs together. We have discount programs. And there's a procurement part of this that is phenomenal. In fact, on the rebates that I receive alone for our company, it more than pays for my membership. It actually RA pays me to be a member, if you can imagine that, on top of all the other benefits that it has. And so for us, it's a no-brainer. I get discounts that I can't even calculate because they come off the price before I even pay it. And then, but my rebates alone are more than the annual membership that we pay to be along in the organization. And that's phenomenal.
That's amazing. Okay, so how many companies were in its infancy, and how many do you have in there now?
Yes, so we have 93 locations now, and in the beginning, it was sort of small, and the companies that started this, the founding companies, they sort of came together and started talking about this idea, and they approached our company. My brother and I are partners, And there was an early company that was part of the original founding members that we just did not see eye to eye with. And we thought, boy, I just don't think sounds good. Sounds like a great concept, but we're just having trouble. And this one company's philosophy was a little different from ours and where we thought it should go. So we didn't join. We cannot say we're one of the first founding members because we had the opportunity. They came to us and we thought, I don't think this is for us. And so we stalled and we sort of put them off a little bit. Eventually that member left the organization and then we jumped on and got in because that was not just going to be a good fit for us. So in the beginning, it was a very small group just coming together with an idea. And I like to say that RA is the best kept secret in the industry because not a lot of people know about us. And there's good reason for that. We have some criteria that for the members, because what we do, it's not like what's one of these pyramid type of organizations. Each member that joins, whether they were an original founding member or somebody that joins today, is an equal owner of the parent organization. So vetting our members is really critical. I was the membership chair for many years, and I took a lot of heat because our membership was excited to see the organization grow. So they thought that growth was good. And I thought only good growth is good. And so I turned down more applications than we accepted. There was a little bit of frustration amongst the members because they knew that other organizations were growing and growing very quickly. And that if we didn't keep pace, they felt that we might lose some market share. But I had to remind them that in order for us to maintain the synergy that we've created here, it was really key that we've got like-minded organizations in with us to partner with. Because when we're turning over our best client to another company, you have to have a high level of confidence that they're going to be taken care of. In fact, one of the things that we say at RA is that treat every restoration affiliate's referral as if it was your own best customer. And another thing that we say, which is really key, is treat every restoration affiliate's employee as if it was your own employee. So if I get a phone call from one of our sister companies in another state that says, hey, how are you guys dealing with this? We pick up the phone, we answer, we help them through, we work with them just like it would be a member of our own staff. And we have about 2,400 employees in the organization through all the member companies. And the good thing about that is it's really therapeutic just to know somebody else is out there doing the same job that you're doing, running into the same problems. And one of the benefits is my brother and I have always been really good about learning from other people. We get a lot of credit that we don't deserve. And people say, wow, you guys are amazing. Look, you're so far ahead of the game. And it's like, well, no, we just learn from people. That's all. We get the best ideas. We feel we can learn from anybody. And we see and we watch and we see what's happening in the industry. And as a result of our affiliation, we have a lot more access to what's going on out there than we would if we weren't involved. And so we see these trends starting, and all of a sudden we bring it back to the office and we discuss with our leadership team, all right, here's what we're seeing in the industry. How are we going to handle that when it comes to Phoenix, Arizona? And so we put a system in place, we get everything prepared. When it hits, we're ready to hit the ground running. And some of our competitors are going, wow, did you hear about this? And we're already up and running. And so we're not sharper than anybody else. We're just well connected and proactive, and we'd like to be ahead of the curve. So it pays big dividends.
So what does that look like? Say there's a hurricane targeting the Gulf, it's coming. So what does that look like amongst RA affiliates when that's coming and you're kind of gearing up? What does that look like?
There's a tremendous amount of cooperation on cat losses. We sent 5 or 6 crews to Texas when they had the flooding over there. And as a result of that, so we ran out of equipment in no time. I mean, in no time, right? The demand was so high. We contacted one of the companies in Kentucky. They sent a trailer of equipment out to us, and that there's companies that are sharing manpower. They're sharing equipment. They're co-oping on large projects together that to be able to accomplish a product that they individually wouldn't be able to do on their own. So there's a tremendous amount of that. Now, we still refer to us as the redheaded stepchildren in the West because the growth began in the East, and that's where most of the organization is. And out here in the West, it hasn't quite caught up. And we're a little more spread out here. The population's more dense. So our partners are a lot closer back East, and they have much more opportunity to work more closely together with each other's companies than we have out here. But we still get to enjoy that benefit as well.
Okay. So something I want people that are watching this to understand is this isn't a rebrand. Your affiliates are not like they're not changing their name. It's not like they're being purchased. They're an affiliate, a partner within this, like you said, an equal partner. So, and I also want people to understand, like, this is not, okay, we did, $10 million in collective work together. We're doing hundreds of millions here, right? Are you comfortable with kind of sharing how much work you're doing?
639 million is what we did collectively. So it's a big, we did about 46,000 jobs last year. So it's a lot of work. And the zip codes that we cover is about 15,000 zip codes. So it's a lot of coverage area. And so frequently I'll have a client say, hey, can you guys help me with a property in this location? And I say, I don't know, let me check, there's so much reach. And so I take a look. And even if we can't, because there's other organizations that are larger than us, and we don't maintain that we are the largest, but even if we don't, we probably have somebody that is near enough to that location that they can help with a referral or assist in the process or something like that. So it's a tremendous resource.
So as RA is growing, do you traditionally have people reaching out to you interested in joining? Are you reaching out and recruiting companies in that you hear of that are reputable? How does that work?
So really, we've not done a good job. We've at RA in making ourselves known to the industry. And so it's been mostly us reaching out to organizations, and our best referrals come from our existing members. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones that, and they know the people in their areas that are good companies that they would recommend to their clients. And so those have been our best by far. But we went to the RIA conference this year. We had a booth, and people come by like, who are you guys? And what are you doing here? And it was kind of interesting. But we need to do more of that. We need to get out there and let people know. We have a number of different committees. It's a volunteer organization. It really is. And so everybody here is we encourage engagement, because I don't want this to be my organization. This is our organization. So we've got different committees and different verticals that people can get involved in. And I mentioned that I was chair of the membership committee for many years. And so we have a membership committee that is reaching out. And what we look for is, where are some areas that we need coverage in that we don't have? And then we'll go and look for companies there and actively pursue them. And we're getting more requests, but we have some criteria and eligibility requirements that unfortunately don't allow every company to become a member. And so that's just part of it. We have to be independently owned and operated. So right off the top, the franchise firms are not eligible. We have minimum volume requirements, and we do have an associate member for small markets that have populations of less than 100,000 each, and that's to help service those. But the main organization is more for the larger markets where the need is greater. You have to be full service, mitigation, full restoration. Of course, you got to be licensed. We have minimum insurance requirements. And that's, again, we have to put things in place so that we know that when we're referring each other's clients back and forth, that we have the certain eligibility that the companies qualify for, and we have less concerns. We have to all maintain IICRC standards. We have minimum response time requirements. You have to have full commercial losses. Not everybody does both. And our main focus is commercial, though many of our companies also do residential. You have to have dedicated commercial business development staff out there beating the streets. We do annual criminal background checks, require minimum warranties. And so not every firm is eligible or meets those criteria. And unfortunately, they can't participate. And so we found that quite a bit at the RIA conference recently, that we had a lot of interest, but not everybody was able to meet the eligibility requirements. And that's okay. We don't want to grow too fast either. We're working on a lot of different things that will serve our members best. And part of that is better done when we don't have quite as many members at the table.
So I hear a lot of companies weekly that are getting approached by First Onsite or ATI or Blue Sky or BMS Cat. These big companies are really looking to buy up as many companies as they can and really get a foothold in as many markets as they can. So how is Restoration Affiliates kind of helping your affiliates remain competitive in those markets when, I'm sure that some of your members have been approached about being purchased? And
we joke all the time, if we're not approached at least once a week, we're disappointed. And so it is pretty prevalent out there, no doubt. And so one of the things, we've got a meeting coming up in Boise, and we're bringing in a couple of companies that help with companies showing, I think one of the reasons so much activity is happening with these mergers and acquisitions is a lot of the restoration companies, right? We deal with what's in front of us today, right now. Emergency response, what's on my plate right at the moment. And I think too many people have not thought about retirement. What do I do with this monster that I've created, and what am I going to do with it? And they don't see a way out. And the only option they see is to sell to the private equity groups or the larger companies. And so we're having a couple companies coming to our meeting and talk about succession planning and options that they could do, whether it's selling to the employees or providing income for them in their retirement, whether they decide to sell their company or not, but show them that there's other options available out there than just to sell. And selling might be the right reason for some companies, and that's great. But if that's done because it's your only option, or you feel it's your only option, then I think that's sad.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I have maybe just one more question here, and it's maybe kind of an obvious question, but I also, again, just want to make sure we're clear and have a clear understanding. So what sets Restoration Affiliates apart from an industry association or a TPA or a managed repair network, anything like that?
That's a great question, because a lot of times people see us as a TPA, or they just see us as a referrals group, and they look at us for one piece of the puzzle. And so while we do refer work out, and we do have national clients, that's not the focus. We don't want to be viewed as that. We don't want people joining our organization because they think they can get work out of it. And I say, hey, this is a volunteer organization. So you get out of it what you put into it. And we rely on our members' participation and engagement in order for the better good of the organization. So we're not just a referrals organization, and we're not a TPA. And each member is an equal owner. So if I brought you into the organization, I get a vote, you get a vote. That's really important to me, that I ensure that you're like-minded and that we have the same goals and expectations of the organization. And so there are groups out there that you can join for procurement benefits. We offer that, but that's not our focus. And like I mentioned, it's a huge portion of it. And for us, and it literally, RA writes me a check every year to be a member. And I don't know how you can get any better than that, right? But I don't want companies to come and join just for that reason, to make money through savings and discounts and rebates. And I don't want them just to join because they think they can get work out of the organization. While all of that is true, we also serve sort of the same process. I call it the brain trust. It's amazing. We have some tremendous talent. For years, when my brother and I would go around with our peer network group, we'd pick we would call it our dream team. That estimator, that project manager, this customer service rep, right? That would be amazing. Well, now we're all on the same team. We're all in the same organization. And if we have questions or need help, I need a form. I reach out to this organization, and in seconds, I can get all kinds of responses back from very creative, talented people that helps my organization. So we're a little piece of each of those areas. And I think that's what makes us different. And again, it's not a pyramid scheme. We don't set it up that way. We don't want it to be that way. It's really important that the brand new company coming in gets one share, one vote. And so they're vested. They have an interest in helping the organization to succeed. We're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary next year. And we're excited about that, because this idea isn't brand new, and it's been around and it's been tried and hasn't always been successful. And so we're very cognizant of that. And we want to ensure that we are not a flash in the pan, that we're sustainable and that we can continue to provide value to our members for years to come.
Perfect. All right. So understanding that the criteria is a little tricky, where can people find out more about Restoration Affiliates if they're interested in learning more about the organization?
So we've got a lot of information on our website, and it's restorationaffiliates.com. And if you go there, we even have a link where you can click on that to get more information regarding membership. And we have a membership committee that can reach out. We've got some staff there in the office that can assist and help. And part of our process is every member that comes in the organization has to be voted on by the board and approved. So it goes out to the ownership group for feedback and comment, and then the board makes the final decision on it. So it's a process. It's something that you just don't sign up and send a check in and you're in. So I like that for people to know that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and I did just think of one final question for you. You were talking about the RIA and being at the RIA show, and I also know that Restoration Affiliates has been a supporter of the AGA and the efforts that have been going on through the Advocacy and Government Affairs Committee. So can you tell me a little bit about why you think that is an important movement in the industry today, and why RIA decided to get involved in that?
We're so excited that we were able to make a substantial contribution to the AGA, because really, I don't think people recognize generally how important that is for us. Our industry is maturing and we're a little behind the scenes. You see, the other industries that are ahead of us. So we don't have far to go to see where things are heading. All we have to do is look at what has happened in other industries. And so that's one of the advantages of being a slow to mature market, I think. But I think so many restorers have their head in the sand and they don't see what's coming down the pipe. And so we really believe that what the AGA is doing is extremely critical. And I think RIA is doing a great job pushing that initiative and moving that platform forward. And so we're just happy to be able to participate in that. In fact, we have Mr. Ed Cross coming to our meeting in September in Boise, and he's going to be speaking to the group there. And so we're big believers, big supporters, and not only did the organization make a substantial contribution, most of our individual companies did as well. So collectively, we feel like we were able to really help support the good work that they're doing over there.
Yeah, the AGA is really doing a lot, and Ed Cross certainly gives a lot to this industry. Like, whew. Yeah, he puts in a lot of time and effort. So perfect.
Yeah,
okay,
yes,
Jim, anything else that you want to add before we wrap it up?
I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. And like I said, if anybody has any questions that we didn't answer on this, please feel free to reach out to us. We've got an 800 number or at the website there reach out and email. We'd love to find out if their organizations would be a good fit for our RA, and that perhaps get them to join the organization.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Jim. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much, Michelle. It's been my pleasure.